welcome to Food and Loathing with Al Mancini, Gemini Stevens, and Rich Johnson.
Yay.
We are all together again in person this week, coming to you from the iconic Todd's Unique Dining in Henderson. And what the booze has already started arriving. That's really good, man.
A beautiful pink one and a darker pink one.
I was going to say that I think they're both pink. One is a little bit more translucent than the other.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and
they
then
look
one's
like
got
fun.
a blueberry spirit on the top
It
of it.
does.
Well, Todd's going to be joining us shortly, so he'll walk us through all of these cocktails, and I think we're going to get some food. I think we're going to have a good old time.
Yay.
For me, it's really fun to be in this room
Right?
again because it has been a long time, and we're going to get into this in detail once Todd joins us, but when I first moved to Las Vegas, this place wasn't open when I very first moved here, but it opened shortly after I moved here, and there was just nothing, man. Nothing off strip. Like, you go into, like, motherfucking Olive Gardens and fucking macaroni grills
Right?
and all of this, and then suddenly it's like we start discovering, oh, my God, there's Todd's Unique Dining, and there's Table 34, and, well, that was almost it. There's Rosemary's, and maybe Senator Japan. We'll get into who was all there and when they were there, but this was a great restaurant. I think they were one of the first places to really bring solid, serious dining, strip level dining to Henderson, really, if you think about it. So, man, we're super excited. Todd's here, his wife Terry is here. We've got it's going to be a fun day. I think they opened up just for us today, so I think they're cooking just for us, and it's going to be awesome. So we'll be getting to all of that very shortly. We're talking to Todd, what inspired him to roll the dice, et cetera, et cetera. Also, this show, we've got Lotus of Siam's Penny Chutima, whose mother, Saipan, was named Best Chef Southwest by the James Beard Foundation in 2018. She's going to share her thoughts on why Las Vegas keeps getting hosed. No, not really that, but we were going to talk about about the wait, about the amount of time that her mother had to wait and being nominated before she was actually recognized.
Well, and then since she was recognized, there's been a little bit of a drought.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It really has. Yeah. So we talk all about that with her. I thought it would be nice to put a little perspective of somebody who's not bitter.
I would love to hear
somebody
from
who
her.
actually won in Las Vegas, because I can parade motherfucking chefs in here all day, and all they'll do is talk about what they don't like about James Beard. I can guarantee you that would be easy. Find somebody who has nice things to say. Right? That took me a little bit of work.
Yeah.
So we're going to have that conversation. You're also going to listen in on a conversation I had during a sneak preview tour of the new Bottled Blonde. My old friend Brian Bass took me over there, and we'll get into that shortly. STK Stephen Hopcraft will tell us about some new menu items they have over there, and we have a brand new happy hour report from happyhourvegas.com's Andrew Morgan.
Always fun.
Before we get into any of that, dining is about personal experiences, and the three of us regularly have opportunities to experience quite a bit of what Las Vegas has to offer.
Speaking of experience.
And look, the food is just starting to arrive here. Okay, before we tell you where we've been eating over the last week,
we need descriptions.
We're going to
find
ask
out what we are eating here.
one of these lovely hosts to tell us what they're setting down directly in front of us.
My goodness.
Terry, I'm going to hand you the mic. You just tell me, what do you got?
All right, they're handing the mic. Speak in there.
Beef carpaccio with the lemon caper aioli.
Yeah.
That's our berry salad over there with the blueberry vinaigrette. There's and feta cheese,
Ooh.
little touch of jalapeno in
And?
that dressing. And our goat cheese wontons.
Yes!
Yes.
Huge signature dish right there.
Cool. Good. Yeah, we're going to talk a lot about those good cheese wontons when Todd joins us. But pass me that plate right now. I have not had one of
Absolutely.
these things in probably close to a decade, and I love them. I loved them for a long ass time. And,
I love it. Oh,
Hey.
man. Goat cheese popping out, burning my mouth.
so
I love
good.
it. I don't care.
no.
And that kind of raspberry
And everything
sauce
is so
on it.
pretty. I mean, I know that, we're digging in, so we're making a mess, but I mean, it's just, so good.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
No, it's
one
so
of
good.
those.
And it's good and sloppy, and we love that.
Yeah. All right.
Anyway, as we said, we're telling you about what we're dining on now, and we're going to get more into that as this show goes on. But let's talk about where we've dined here in Las
Yeah.
Vegas over the past week, bring people a little into our lives. And nobody eats the way that we eat.
No.
I mean, it's like ridiculous. It's like an Olympic level eating that we do. So, Gemini, you want to start us off with where you've been dining recently around Las Vegas?
Yeah, so I want to throw a quick shout out to Bazaar Meat and to Yukon Pizza. My birthday weekend, I got to experience both at an epic level, but I was also ill, so I kind of missed my own birthday parties again. So, but yeah, shout out. I mean, at Bazaar Meat, we had like a semi-private dining room. They did so good by the table. There were 5 or 6 of us. We had everything you can think of. Everybody was just blown away by the service, the choices. We basically didn't order. We just said, "What do you want us to eat? We're here for a party."
Bring
you
us
know?
what's
The
good,
way to
right?
go.
And yeah, it was amazing. And then Yukon Pizza brought everything over to Garage East. Also, shout out to Garage East. Set up a specific menu, wine tasting menu for us, so we got to do that. But yeah, Yukon Pizza set us up with pizzas and vegan food and those buffalo cauliflower that I love so much and salads. And I wasn't on the show a week ago to be able to thank them, so I just want to throw that out there and say thank you, everybody, so much for everything you did for us.
Yeah, the food at your party was great.
Yeah, yeah.
The food was fantastic. You were looking a little under the
I
weather.
was a
but-
little peaked.
Yeah.
So I did come, though. I did get to see a bunch of people. I did get to do some hugs and have a few conversations before it got to be too much. But then I had to go and get back on an IV. So, but that's all right. That's all right. Things are good now, and that's what we're worried about. So this week has been a little bit quiet, but I basically revisited some of my faves because it's just been a really busy week and weekend. I had Mama Sarang's Thai delivered. I know you and I have both talked about them before.
Yeah, I got my mouth full of carpaccio and crunchy bread, but
Oh,
yeah,
nice.
you
I
like
love
Mama
the food
Sarang's a
sounds
lot.
in the background. Yeah, exactly. This time I will admit it was delivery. I was a little bit disappointed. I went for the seafood on the tom kha soup and the Penang curry. It was a lot of soggy breaded fish and not a lot of anything else, but the flavors are always there, so I will still go back. I'm sure it was just an off night.
Yeah, I just ordered takeout from them about a
Yeah,
week or two ago, and it was really good.
Yeah,
when
it's
I was
always
there,
solid. So I'm happy to say, yes, still go there. Just kind of, check it out.
Okay.
Shanghai taste, always. Crab and yolk, XLB, always. The cold ox tongue, the cold bean curd noodles. It's been so warm that I needed stuff that was like a little
Remind people,
cooler and didn't
Shanghai
have to worry
Taste,
about it.
Shanghai Taste in the Shanghai
In the
Plaza.
Shanghai Plaza.
On Spring Mountain Road.
And there's another one
Try
for-
finding a place to park. Good
Yeah.
luck. Have fun with that
If
one.
you're in the Southwest, there's a location Southwest as well. So, and if you're listening to us from Dallas, there's one there too.
And they are James Beard. Their
They
chef
are
has
James
been
Beard
James
nominated.
Beard semifinalist.
I don't remember if they were. It was last
Okay,
year,
yeah.
and they were either semifinalists. They might have gone all the way to
And
nomination.
then I bet they got hosed by the James Beard Foundation, just like everybody. But
Tell me how you really
Let
feel.
it go.
Dude, you think I'm holding a grudge? I'm repeating what people say to me when I'm out and about all week. Okay, I'm just taking the temperature of the local
right?
community, man. Don't blame me that they're having a fever.
I'm definitely a diner kind of gal sometimes. So liver and onions from Lou's Diner never disappoints, always hits the spot. And a quick glass of wine at Ada's. It was just a hot day. I was running by. I hadn't seen people in a while, so I just popped in. I got to say hi. One quick glass of amazing champagne. And yeah, that's my experience.
Cool.
Otherwise, it's been too hot and busy this weekend.
Yeah, no shit. Rich, how about you, man? Any good restaurant meals since last we
Yeah, a
talked?
light week, just a couple of things out there combined with working down my prepper level freezer stockpile. Nice, but actually
Really? We're going to war, man. I
going-
might
I
want
know.
to stock
I know.
back up again.
I know.
I will, yeah. A little too big breakfast at the South Point's Coronado Cafe. Eggs were nicely over medium, as you know. The hash browns crispy. 3 huge sausage patties were okay, but just too much. I actually had to leave one, which I never do. Just the volume. It was
Wow.
fine, but it was too much. Meal plus coffee comes in about $18, which is about what it is these days.
For that much food, that sounds pretty good, actually.
But Coronado Cafe offers some overnight specials. That same meal with sausage or bacon, $4.95,
What time do I have to be hungry for that?
midnight to 6 a.m.
Oh, Party
Yeah,
Al would
yeah.
have loved that.
Exactly.
That would have been Party Al's favorite place to go.
50 cents more will get you the ham. $2.50 more will get you a 7-ounce New York steak. There's a cheeseburger and fries for $5.45, a shrimp cocktail for $4.45. All those midnight to 6.
So, Rich, you keep odd hours. Do you ever go out dining at those hours?
I have not. I was in there like 7:30, so I missed it. I'm not going to get up and go all the way down there just for that because I'd spend that much money on.
But you do radio reports where you're up in the overnight shift sometimes, so I figured it might be something that you'd be, Rich has real jobs and works for really important people, and so they make him do, probably less than we make him do because we're dicks. But.
And in this era of cutbacks around Vegas, Coronado Cafe really still 24/7.
That's kind of amazing, actually.
Yeah,
Good to know.
nice view of the casino.
I want to know when the first breakfast place in town is just going to call their eggs over medium the Rich Johnson. Somebody needs to name that.
Put
man.
that out there.
Yeah,
I'm
taking bids on the licensing rights.
Yeah, one free meal, I'm betting. You're covered.
you know me so well. Curiosity got me when we came to our centerpiece of 2 weeks ago, so I headed over to Ethan Spicer's Solamente Pizza on West Sahara. And it was everything you promised, the best dough ever. My plan was to have 2 slices and take the other 2 home. That did not work out. I had it all, and every bite of that Pizza Supreme, including the 4-day rise pizza crust, nothing to take home. This is a little off message, but I'm going to do it anyway because it's my time.
You do it with your time, brother.
One of my favorite detective novels for more than 40 years has been the Spencer series. Spencer's the literate private eye who lives not far from Boston Common. He cracks wise. He loves his longtime psychiatrist girlfriend. He has a deep brotherhood with the mysterious Hawk. If you remember the 80s show Spencer for Hire.
I do, actually.
Yeah.
Based on the book.
Okay.
Hawk, and he went on to be on Star Trek. Hawk.
Yeah.
He had his own show,
Avery
but then he
Brooks.
went on to be
Brilliant.
on Star Trek as a real badass, too.
Oh,
Yeah.
You give him more detail on the books you read than on the meals you eat, but we love you,
gotta be
so you
true to
keep
me.
going.
So one scene, every novel, there's at least one scene in which Spencer checks his fridge, pulls out 3 or 4 ingredients, and whips up something fantastic.
So he's like the MacGyver of the refrigerator?
Exactly. And
Okay.
half a dozen times in every book, they're out at some real Boston restaurant and bar and go through the whole thing, and it's great. So in my Spencer homage this week was half a jar of Whole Foods vodka sauce, tossed into a sautéed onion that I sautéed, half a jar of red peppers, and 2 hot Italian sausages I pulled out of the freezer. Then I cooked them up on all that on spaghetti and some freshly grated Parmesan cheese. Tragically, I did not have a nice Chianti to go with it, so my go-to...
Fava beans.
Fava beans?
No fava
Somebody's
beans.
brains?
My go-to grocery store Pinot Mayomi came off the bench for a triple-double.
Okay,
There you
so
go.
we're lucky here. Todd has been keeping quiet very much, and this is not his section yet. But I need to know, what do you think about Rich's little impromptu meal, man? What did he do right? What did he do wrong?
He's got some possibilities there.
Yeah?
For sure.
I have made sauce from scratch and all that, but I was being a lazy fuck, and I had to use up the jar.
It's all good.
Okay.
I love
Okay,
it.
cool. Well, you got the thumbs up approval. So
Oh, yeah, I feel valid now.
cool. Anything else?
No, that's
you?
it. That's it. I'm going to celebrate with more.
I want to know what the
of
drinks are really quick.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what I was going to ask before that, because we've got 2 really nice, large, beautiful cocktails, and then we have the little tasting versions so that we're not too drunk by the end of
Right,
this
we have to drive.
do, because we all got to drive all the way across town. So, Todd, what are we drinking?
So the first one here, this is our homemade watermelon martini.
Ooh.
Okay, so we make our own watermelon vodka, and then we infuse it with a little bit of sweet and sour.
Oh, my God, that's
Oh,
beautiful.
nice. Not
Yeah.
too sweet. That's
Not too sweet.
always
and
the mistake people make on these things.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
dangerous.
No, I like it. Plus,
That
I
is
like
really
you get
good.
the little watermelon pulp on the side of the glass.
Yeah.
You know,
easy
it's
to
legit.
drink excess
All right,
of those.
going down.
Yeah,
Okay,
for sure.
so that one was excellent. Chef, and what's the one with the little blueberries sitting
Next
on top?
one, that is a whiskey smash. So bourbon, a little bit of blackberry syrup, and sweet and sour. Shaken, and it's
what they
all
call
delicious.
at the Encore the Sinatra Smash.
Yeah,
Sort of like
that's
that.
Tennessee whiskey.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
There you go. This is very good. I usually don't like the idea of people going sweet with bourbon. I mean, to me, that just rubs me the wrong way, but this works.
Yeah.
This definitely works.
Yeah,
Yeah, it does.
just a little bit, little something to clinch your palate.
Well,
like
thank
it.
you. Now that we're all liquored up, I'm going to tell these people about where I've been dining, and then you'll be right back to join us in the
No
next
problem.
section, Todd. But
Yeah.
thank you for that. So I had a few parties, had a few meals over the past week. First up was a little gathering of the influential, beautiful people in the lounge of STK Steak in the Cosmo. Chef Stephen Hopcraft loves to get everybody together around the summer solstice. Did a great job this year. Lots of cool people, lots of cool clothes. None of this is me. I'm neither the cool person nor am I the cool clothes. I have cool hair, I think.
Yeah,
still,
you
but
do.
No. Lots of good food and drink. Lots of lighting rings to ensure the perfect social media posts. Really not necessarily a party for me. That I was not nearly beautiful enough to be in that party, but that's kind of STK. It's a clubby joint. It's for really hot people. So I'm usually the troglodyte that's in that place.
Listen to you.
But that being said, I caught up with Chef Stephen Hopcraft, and I asked him if he had anything new on the menu.
We have pot stickers on the menu. We got a new skewer with short ribs. There's a lot of fun new stuff. There's a lot going on.
Then I went straight from that party, I should say, to a little soiree at Resorts World. They were showing off their Athena Infinity Pool Lounge.
Ooh.
Which, first of all, try getting up to a pool at night at Resorts World.
Oh, really?
Like, well, you need a fucking key.
Yeah.
And then not all of the elevators go to the same floors of the pool deck, because apparently depending on which level of Resorts World expensiveness you're staying in. So
Valid.
So basically, I spent a lot of fucking time in the elevators of Resorts World waiting for somebody to come and put a key there so I could get up. But it was a lot of fun. I mean, they're showing this space off, by the way, because it's where they're going to have their July 4th party. So if anything I sounds really cool, look into their July 4th party. But, it's a nice, small day club meets lounge meets pool, two relatively small pools, both with cabanas around them.
Okay.
But the great one is we're up on the 5th floor, and then just this huge infinity edge pool that literally goes off the edge of the building from the 5th floor, and really, really nice. So we had a lot of fun up there. There were beverages. There were no food to talk about, but had some nice cocktails.
Cool.
And the crowd was cool, and yeah, it's called the Athena Infinity Pool Lounge. So if you're looking for a cool infinity pool, or if you're a beautiful person looking for something to be in at the background of your picture
photos,
shoot, there you go. Go check that out. A very, very brief visit to Wino in Uncommons this week. Just a glass of wine for Sue, some cacio e pepe popcorn, and a flatbread topped with apricot, bacon, brie, arugula, and balsamic.
That sounds delicious.
It did sound really good. When you're looking at it and you're seeing like the bacon and stuff like that, you're almost expecting like a really sharp tart flambe kind of deal. But of course, the brie really mellows it the fuck out, right? So it's not a really sharp thing. So that was really cool. It was my anniversary weekend.
Happy anniversary.
Thank you.
I was going to say, your anniversary? Isn't it sort of a we thing?
No, his wedding anniversary.
My wedding anniversary.
That's what I mean, we.
Yeah, but
you and Sue.
Sue's not here, so I'm not going to use the royal we
So she
here.
doesn't exst when she's not here.
I was about to tell you all about the things I fucking did with her, but grammar police jumped in there, man. Okay, so we started off, we wanted to go see Joan Jett. Mm-hmm. And we love Joan Jett. I saw Joan Jett at my first concert in 1982. She was on the bill with Foreigner and the Kinks and Loverboy and Huey Lewis. And my dad took me for 8th grade graduation. Yeah, do the math. I'm fucking old. Joan always brings it. Joan Jett is the ultimate badass. If I had a daughter or a granddaughter, I would want Joan Jett to be their role model. You just think about her at the age of 17 going around playing punk clubs around the country with the Runaways and all-woman band. And she's just such a fucking badass. I've seen her a million times over the years.
I love that.
A little depressing, though, because they put tables down on the floor, because anybody that's going to see Joan Jett at this point cannot stand.
Yeah.
The tables were sold out. I was lucky enough to get some GA tickets, so I did stand.
Yeah.
So despite my decrepit nature, I did stand through the show. But it was a fantastic show. I had a lot of fun. If you get a chance, and by the way, if you're too young to remember who the fuck Joan Jett is, just go and listen, because she's a perverted. She was a sexual liberation person. She was a women's rights person. She did entire albums on her fetish, her love of fetishes,
bodily autonomy.
Yeah, and she's just
power.
so cool.
Oh my god!
Plus, she loves rock and roll.
Absolutely.
And I always want to put another dime in that jukebox. Before we went to see Joan, we went to Flanker. And, I knew, like, Jones it says 6:30 doors, 7:30 show.
Yeah.
And I knew it would be 8:30 before she went on. But the flanker people were so nice. They knew that I was going to a show, and they were like, oh, we'll get you out by 7:30. I'm like, I really don't want to get out by 7:30, because I know I'm going to be standing there like an old man with no table.
What was the venue for Jones Jet?
Oh, House of Blues.
Yeah.
Excuse
Okay.
me. Right.
Yeah.
So we're already there. We're in Mandalay Bay. We're
Yeah.
having a good time. A lot of good places to eat there. But I like flanker, especially for a little pre-gaming.
Yep.
We did a meze board, which was hummus, baba ganoush, toasted pita, veggies, marinated olives. They've got a lot of smash burgers. I did the truffle smash, and this is 2 quarter-pound patties with caramelized onions. The truffle's in the cheese. I don't know whether they
Okay.
use truffle tremor or one of those other truffle cheeses, but really, really good truffle cheese. Garlic aioli, pickles. That's a $39 burger. You're on the strip. It's a half
Yeah.
pound, so
Yeah.
Split
and
it
a
up.
nice big order of fries. I did not add the foie gras for an extra $18. I didn't think that was a very punk rock thing to add the foie
I
gras.
think it's very
right?
punk rock
I
to
don't
do
know.
anymore.
And we did an Italian chopped salad. It was great. I really do like flanker. Of course, they've got their new tiki thing going on in the lounge area,
Yep.
but we were seated in the main room. Bumped into Las Vegas Phil there.
Nice.
He had some influencer friends from out of town because they wanted to shoot all the tiki drinks.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
if Las Vegas Phil is bringing other influencers to shoot your fucking pop-up, you've done a good pop-up, right?
There
so
you go.
you don't have to listen to my old ass if you don't want to. You can listen to Vegas Phil because he knows it's cool. I'm probably going to have to pay him a royalty now.
He should be paying you the royalty.
He doesn't need me to publicize himself. Then and then I went to get my hair colored. It's looking a little Urban Decay. It's looking a little Toxic Avenger. I'm usually very
I like
bright and
it
Disney
bright,
looking.
but yeah, I get the difference when you mentioned Disney. The colors would be a
Yeah, I'm
little less
usually
neon.
Need some blues and greens in
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
So anyway, went over. We were in Henderson, not too far from where we are now, and I went to the Parkway Tavern to check out Naked City Pizza.
Yeah.
Because I believe they now have Naked City at all Parkway Taverns. Right.
Ooh.
So that's what I had heard. So I figured I would try with the one
Yeah.
in Henderson. They did have it. Just a couple choices on the menu, a few good choices, and then they have their entire full Parkway Tavern menu as well. But we just ordered the pizza. We did the back home. A half a sheet, had
Yep.
it for leftovers all weekend.
Yeah.
It was really, really good. But here's the thing. I'm wondering, the crust tasted a little like a par-baked crust.
Okay.
Like a partial bake on
Yeah.
the crust before they made it. I don't believe Naked City, if we go to their Paradise Road location, I don't think they use par-baked crusts. They might. That might
They
be
might.
part of the
I've never
appeal,
seen it, but that doesn't mean
I don't
anything.
think they did, and I wasn't expecting that. I wasn't
Yeah.
expecting so much of a sharp crisp on the bottom, which you tend to get with par-baked because
Yeah.
it's been double baked,
Right.
the bottom of it, right? So that surprised me, but it makes sense because if he's supplying all of the Parkway Taverns,
That's a lot. Yeah.
I'm guessing
Yeah.
maybe they just make all the fucking
Yeah.
doughs and they bake them halfway and they send them over and they say, have whoever's making the video poker food just throw some good Naked City
Right.
shit. I don't know, but that would be my guess.
One of the things I've learned about pizza doing this show and all the wonderful pizza people we've had on this show is that less is more. You want a subtlety. You don't want to pile it up. Except Naked City Pizza, which has 18 pounds of every damn thing you
So
can possibly
good.
do, and it is so good.
More is fucking more.
More
Naked
is
City,
more.
Man. You don't want those pizzas naked. And then my anniversary dinner, Zaytinya. And, this is like the mistake, I guess. I always have so many places that I need to get to.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, well, Sue and I are going to go out, so let's just call one of the people who've invited me, one of the million people who've invited me out. First world problems. This is like a 1%er problem. I'm going to grant you. But I'm like, okay, 2 birds, 1 stone. We'll go to Zaytinya. We, got dressed up a little bit, and, we're feeling good. Loved it. The place is gorgeous. Had a fantastic time. But I think we ordered 4 dishes.
Yeah.
Because it's anniversary dinner. You want
Yeah.
to go home and fuck, and you got an evening plan,
Right.
Thanks
right?
for sharing, yeah.
So, I didn't really think that I'm breaking new ground
you
on the
did
fact
not,
that
no.
people fuck on their anyway, so
Talking to the divorce guy.
well,
Tell me
maybe
what that's like.
maybe if you had, but anyway, so we ordered about 4 dishes. We got 1, 2. I don't know. Look, here's what we got. We got the hummus. Which, I'll just tell you, we've got a shit ton of dishes. What I liked about all of them was, this is going to be a Mediterranean meze restaurant. You're going to get a lot of very typical Mediterranean dishes. It's probably also the lowest priced in the Jose Andres portfolio, I would guess, right? So I was worried that it was going to be sort of a half-assed Jose, right? Like that the food would be good. I always knew the food was going to be good, but I didn't know that I was going to get so much Jose Andres originality in every fucking dish.
Sure.
Because you're like, what can you do with hummus, right? Like, yeah, I'm going to order some fucking... That's why I didn't order it. But they brought the hummus with a big serving of lamb on top of it. Pickled vegetables next to that.
Wow.
Nothing I ever would have ordered, but as you make up the bite of the acid in the pickled vegetables and the little bit of a saltiness in the lamb, and then that hummus to ground it all, and you're putting it on these beautiful pitas that they give
My
out,
Greek
which come
heart
over
is exploding
like
right
puffs
now.
of fucking
Yes.
of fucking clouds delivered to your table. So really, really good. And I ordered the hitipiti. The hitipiti. H-to-PT. Anyway, marinated red bell peppers, feta, and thyme. I've had that before, but again, this was just done so well. It brought out the flavor profile of those red peppers. I mean, that one just felt like such an ingredient-driven dish, right? Just done really, really well. Baba ganoush was great. I love the smoke on the eggplant. Smoked beet salad.
Yes.
Now, you guys know
You
I'm
don't
not
do
ordering
beets.
no beet salad, right? Like, it's the one thing, and... I'll say this may be the best, and every chef wants to bring me their beet salad because they're going to convince me that I like beets.
That's right.
But I'll tell you, they did a damn good job. This is the second time I've had beets where they were smoked, and the smoking that they do, it kind of mutes that natural sugar that I don't like in sweet root vegetables, right? I don't like the terroir of the dirt mixing with the natural sugar of like in carrots or in sweet potatoes or in beets. But by smoking them, you really muted that. And I liked it a lot better. Still not ordering a beet salad anywhere I go. Let's not fuck around.
No,
but thank you,
I
Chef.
do. I do
really
like
good.
that you're pointing it out because the smoke goes really well with the earthiness, and then just kind of helps bring down that sugar because you're cooking it basically. So
Yeah.
you're gonna get more of those caramelized flavors than you are just straight up sweetness.
Yeah.
Which you get with a lot of, especially if it's like shaved raw or something like that. Like
Yeah, there's just too much sugar on beets with that terroir.
because I love beets, but I like them cooked more than anything else, and I like them like roasted until it's more of that savory flavor.
Yeah.
So I like that smoking idea a lot.
It was really good. I did crispy Brussels sprouts, apparently the most popular dish in all of Zaytinya land.
Wow.
They're very, very good. Everybody's doing good Brussels sprouts these days, right? They're no longer the thing your mother made you eat,
Right.
right? Like
Oh, yeah.
everybody's, mostly because they discovered to fry them, I think.
Well,
right?
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And but anyway, those were great. I did a shrimp dish that was absolutely fantastic. Garides mi anitoi. I don't know. Sorry, I suck. But it's shrimp with dill, shallots, mustard, and lemon. Now, I've got to tell you,
Yes.
that's a basic flavor profile. Sue and I have made shrimp in a very similar-y kind of thing. Nothing original really about that flavor profile, but the fucking balance on it was just perfect. Again, it demonstrated that Jose Andres dedication to perfection that you expect. The octopus was good that they brought to us. The octopus Santorini was good. Scallops were very good. I would have preferred just a tiny bit more caramelization on the outside, but beautifully translucent in the middle. Loved that. They came with honeydew and dill yogurt and, all sorts of stuff. Wait, I'm trying to think of something else that I had. I'll keep going. 2 skewers. We had lamb sausage skewer and a beef skewer. We had olive oil cake for dessert with orange blossom cream and some clementine. I don't even know what clementine is, so I don't know if I could
It's
taste
it's like
it.
an orange.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Oh, my darling. Some molten chocolate Turkish coffee cake that was served, I forget the name of it, but with what they told me was a Greek ice cream. And I could tell, I had done Greek ice cream at the Fancy Food Show this year. And it's unusual. It has a very different texture, and it does not melt as quickly. So I kind of asked them about that, and it was definitely the same setup here.
Okay, cool.
So that was really, really good. There was one thing I wanted to tell you about that if you get there, make sure you eat all of the... Oh, I know what it was. It was the crispy eggplant. I ordered this crispy eggplant because I thought it was going to be like a Milos special, but it wasn't. It was like almost like tater tots of crispy eggplant.
Yeah.
That were fantastic. And then that, by the way, comes with walnuts and... oh, God, what's the damn fruit that was there? Apricots, walnuts and apricots,
yes.
and just a tiny little bit next to these nice zucchini things, eggplant things, but you got to eat that garnish because it was just such a perfect flavor combinations. The little things. That's what Jose Andres does, and he did it perfectly. I got some takeout from Sorry Not Sorry because, that expensive, that price isn't pricey enough. You need to get it delivered to your house when you're stoned. But when you're stoned, you'll pay anything for it. I did their campfire s'mores, which is so ugly but so good. I love it.
That sounds good.
Last night as we recorded this, Sue and I got to sample the new Primetime Wine and Dine 4-course prefix tasting menu at Scotch 80 Prime.
Yeah, I just read about that today.
All of
Exhausting just to
Scotch-
hear the title.
Yeah, it's a $94 4-course menu. They've got a lot of great deals, of course, always. Starts at 7 o'clock, but right before that, you've got their social hour, which has those really nice 30% discounts. So there's going to be bargains all summer long over at Scotch 80 Prime. We
all
did
need
some
to
shrimp
go.
toast, some brie fondue with bacon jam, some shrimp cocktail, burrata salad. By the way, you don't get all of these. You get choices in each
Right.
thing. I had a filet mignon, which was really just like the filet mignon. It was so stark, the plate, right?
Yeah.
And then right next to me, Sue got prawn scampi with squid ink pasta with 3 U3 shrimp.
Wow.
So, Todd, how big is a U3 shrimp? That's a big
massive.
fucking shrimp.
Yeah.
So
3 to a pound. Is that
yeah.
what that means?
Yeah.
Oh, God.
that one was crazy, and it just looked different. So, look, we're getting ready to wrap up this section, but things are arriving. So before we wrap up, cut to a break, Todd, tell us what you're sitting down in front of us right now, please.
Okay, so starting here, we have a filet roulade, which is Cajun blackened.
Ooh.
And then we slice it and serve it with a Cajun cream and a little bit of spicy corn. And then we have, this is the dish that everyone loves right now, especially, it's only here for 9 months, but halibut with artichoke and caper
Oh,
sauce.
halibut is always
Right.
the correct
It
answer.
always cannot be bad.
And look at that beautiful, tan crisp on the top. You can see the filet, the flakiness of it on the sides. Oh, my
oh, yeah.
God.
Yeah.
That's,
And then,
fish is good. And I wanted to bring you something that was out of the ordinary for us.
Okay.
Okay? We do a burger. We only do it in the summertime typically. It's now here. So I wanted to let you know. I want you to taste it. But it's a brisket and chuck patty.
ooh.
And then it's grilled. And we serve it with curry ketchup. That's a curry mustard ketchup that you have with it.
Okay.
And then this is the short ribs.
The short rib
Short
right
ribs of
now.
beef, yeah.
Wow, that's a beautiful looking dish too. Okay, so
Holy cow.
we're gonna start eating. Coming up later in the show, we've got Andrew Morgan that has a happy hour report for us. I'm gonna get a tour of the brand new bottled blonde at the Horseshoe. But first, of course, we're gonna be joined by our host, Todd Clore, coming up momentarily. This is Food and Living. As promised, Todd Clore, he's been with us, but now he's sitting down just to talk to us.
This is
That's
awesome.
why you tuned in today, I hope. Todd, welcome, man. And
Thank you.
Thanks for welcoming us into your restaurant.
Oh, thank
Yeah,
you
this
for-
is above and beyond. This is
Man, oh,
amazing.
man, oh, man. Yeah.
Yeah, so, okay, quick report. First of all, we've got the spoon. We're cutting the beef with the spoon, right?
Right?
Which is just amazing. Fantastic. The burger's a lot of fun. I dig the burger. I like that. What was it? A curry that you put on?
curry ketchup.
Curry
yeah.
ketchup, yeah.
You had curry ketchup.
That's
with them.
amazing.
So
The seafood's great too.
Oh.
The halibut, it's
Yeah.
fantastic.
The sauce is light, but it still has a lot of flavor. I love the vegetables with it. The fish is perfect.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Everything's beautifully cooked, Chef. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much
Yeah.
for this.
Yes.
yeah.
So, Chef, you and I were talking before we decided we were going to do this,
Right.
and I've been a fan of Todd's Unique Dining probably since the day you opened the door, and I want to give people a little bit of background. I moved to Las Vegas in 2001.
Right.
There was nothing off strip. I'm eating at Macaroni Grills and being happy
Right.
in 2001. And now that I'll be fair, there were some really good family-owned Italian restaurants, right? Of course, we had Piero's, we had Gaetano's, we had Ferraro's. But if you wanted to get away from Italian, you really had to go to the strip for anything of any quality. And then suddenly, I pull my head up one time, and this is right when I started writing about food. So now I'm really looking, and there's 4 in all of Las Vegas. There's you, Todd's Unique Dining here in Green Valley, where we're sitting right now. There was Table 34, which sadly just recently closed, but had a nice long run. There was Rosemary's
Right.
on the west side, and then I think maybe Son of Japan. And these were places with people who had worked on the Strip and decided to go back into the neighborhoods. You are one of those people. If I remember correctly, you even did the Sterling Brunch, right? Among the
did.
many things.
Yeah.
You tell us about where you worked on the Strip before you opened, Todd?
I was only at one place. I was with Bally's for almost 10 years.
Okay.
And so Bally's wanted me to come because at that point, if you remember back, I started here in 95. So 95, the brunch was just being evolved. And the director of food and beverage wanted it to go national. That was what the big push was. We got to get it to go national. So I worked on it for a long time. And, like I said, almost 10 years was there. So
And
we
that's
got it.
Sterling Brunch, because Vegas didn't have brunches, really.
they
They
had
were not a
buffets.
major part of the Vegas experience. I credit Kerry Simon with really making it so that
Oh.
everybody
Yeah.
needs a brunch, right?
Yes.
But Sterling Brunch, I knew about it. I knew about it when I visited Las Vegas before I moved here. The idea was, in those days, it was just under $100 brunch. And people would say, well, what the fuck, $100 brunch?
Yeah,
That's
but-
insane, in the late 90s or early 2000s.
Yeah.
And then you got there, and I don't know, maybe I'm imagining it over the top, but I remember there's duck, there's lobster tails, there's caviar. You're pouring like Veuve Clicquot.
Right.
I mean, like it was legit for your
was
just under
absolutely.
$100, man.
Yeah, it was high end. I used to tell people you could, before you ever finished a couple appetizers, you could get your $100.
Oh, absolutely.
Have a couple glasses of champagne and a lobster tail, and we're roasting, carving filet mignon or rack of lamb in the carving station right there.
Yeah.
It's very easy to do without you consuming a lot of food, especially with the price of groceries.
Yeah. And I think the problem that happened with that was they always wanted to keep the number under 100, and as
some point,
$100 kind of became less and less,
Yeah.
like you were getting less and less for it, is what I noticed when I stopped kind of going back.
Right.
It just was not the mind-boggling feast that was laid out when you started that thing.
Right. Yeah. No. And there was a lot of reason for that. They took all the comp out of that property.
Okay.
So with that, you have no gamers at all.
Right.
We were having to survive on our own.
Wow.
That was a tough thing because the brunch is expensive.
Yeah, absolutely.
A lot of staff, a lot of things going on.
Okay. So you created a Las Vegas institution.
Okay.
And then you decided to strike out to the burbs. When was that exactly, and what inspired you? Because, like I said, ain't nobody was doing that back then.
Right. Well, so I live in Henderson. I've been a Henderson guy since I moved here. And we went out to eat, and there was no place to eat. And so I was very familiar with this area and what was going on, and just happened to keep my eye on this property. And, it was just happenstance that it was available, and I was ready to open a restaurant.
Okay.
So it worked pretty good.
How'd the neighborhood react right away? Were they, because I'm thinking, they're used to Olive Gardens or something over here, and
Well-
you come in with these goat cheese wontons, by the way, which are, I had them the first time I ever dined here. I'm having them again now.
I was just going to say, too,
They're-
if you heard that crunch a second ago, that was
that was me having another
dumpling.
goat cheese
It's so
wonton.
good.
So you were doing things that were much more elevated than I think the burbs were used to.
I think so. But, Henderson was great. I mean, obviously the foodies kind of heard about me right away, and from the brunch, it translated to being a little bit of press immediately. So Henderson, they've always been very supportive. Got me through COVID, through the recession and everything, and that couldn't have been nicer to embrace of me. So it was good. I mean, I think they've all learned a little bit as we've gone on here, and things that I was doing years ago, they're hearing about now, and that's something that's in their wheelhouse. So it was good, But again, in my mind, it was always that we have to provide for the locals, because these are the people working in restaurants, right? You want to go out, you want to have a good meal. Your expectations are higher than usual, so you want to find a great place to go. And I was struggling as well, so I wanted to put it here close to where I lived, and that's where we've been.
But the dishes, what I remember from the very beginning, and what I'm having as I'm having these here, like we're doing that short rib, but of course it's got like jalapeno mashed potatoes under it, right? Like your dishes were always something that, if I brought a non-foodie into the place, they would see stuff on the menu that they would recognize and they'd feel comfortable ordering it, and you wouldn't scare them away. You would just give them nice little tweaks that showed them what fine dining could be.
Right. Yeah, we always want to mix little pieces of everything up. You know, we want to give you a surprise in there, and just so that it's not the ordinary, right? And everything's a little bit different. We flavor a lot of. I worked for one gentleman years ago. I opened a restaurant for him. He was from France, and he would not, for the life of me, let me use soy sauce or chili pepper. And I go, I can't believe that. Why would you be so prone into
rigid?
Yeah. You don't want to even experience
flavor's
other
flavor,
flavors.
right?
Yeah.
It's all good. But
It's not called Todd's Ordinary. It's called Todd's
there you go.
Hell yeah. Hey, Todd, what's this other beverage I'm drinking right
That
now?
is the Spanish G&T. Mm-hmm. So a gin and tonic with kefir, lime, grapefruit, and cloves.
Oh, that's the cloves I'm picking
Yeah,
up there.
I like that
very
a lot.
good. Reminds me of being a hipster in New York in the 90s, man. You had to smoke cloves. if you
Oh
wanted
God,
to.
yeah.
So, Chef, you've been now here 21 years?
21 years, yeah. Just
Wow.
celebrated our anniversary.
The restaurant's old enough to
Congratulations.
drink now.
yeah.
But I've got to think then that you've probably gotten to the point where like kids whose parents used to come here with them when they were, in the high chairs are now coming on date night.
Yep. We've had a couple, celebrations, anniversaries. They've gotten married here. They've had children while they've been here, and now the children's children.
As long
are
as they're
coming
not
back.
having children here.
Not here. No.
There's a story about that, but a woman I interviewed once that told me she was born in the restaurant.
Oh my God.
Floor. That was a New Orleans thing, though. So, Chef, again, I'm thrilled to see a dish that I saw 20 years ago still on the menu. How much has the menu evolved, and then how many of these are dishes that are just such classics with your regular customers you can't get rid of them?
There's a couple. I mean, that's the good and bad part about being around for a long time, right? People come in and they expect to see what they've had before. Mm-hmm. So it gets a little more challenging to always change everything monthly like we were doing, or even every couple weeks. So a few of them have stuck around a little while, but everything that we've done, we've tweaked a little bit more, always changing something, with costs the way they are right now.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Everything's evolving. The cost of labor, the cost of food, everything's gone up. So
We got desserts arriving.
I know.
already.
Look at this.
Oh man, what do we have here?
God.
Todd?
okay, so the first one is the McKenna's brownie. That is a chocolate brownie, no nuts inside, but with pecan ice cream on the top of it, caramel sauce and candied pecans.
And it's still so warm. The caramel sauce is bubbling at the edge of the brownie in the little
The
cast
cast
iron.
iron's hot. Yeah, you don't want to mess with that.
No.
And this is a snickerdoodle bread pudding.
Oh my God.
Shit, man.
Okay,
I love bread pudding, and now you just like, oh man.
snickerdoodle is the one. So that's caramel sauce and vanilla sauce on top of that. And then to lighten things up is a little bit of lemon cheesecake mousse.
Yes.
The little blueberry sauce on top. So
I feel like people just listening to you describe these dishes, they can kind of get a vibe for what it is you do, which is, again, it's going to be familiar. It's not going to scare you, but it's going to be so elevated.
right, we try to take everything up and not make it what, it's not generic. It's not this cookie cutter thing. So we make everything in-house. Everything's fresh. And we just try to give you something that, keep your flavor, your profile up and coming and learning, and it's good.
How often do you play with the menu? Because one of the things I'm noticing in, not just in the cocktails that we've talked about, because there's definitely a summer theme there, but even in like a bigger dish like the short rib, there are touches of summer sort of all over the place. The corn on this dish is amazing. It's roasted. It's got a little chili to it to go with the steak. You've got a little bit of jalapeno stuck in there. Like everything has a little bit of like lightness and vegetal and just a little kick here and a little kick there. Is that like, do you change it seasonally, or you?
Like the core menu is probably a little less frequently than that. So some of the things, like you should always find a short rib here. We always have the halibut during halibut season. You know, there's some standbys that are always there.
But do you change what comes with the short rib to make it seasonable vegetables accompanying it and things like that?
Yeah,
or do you have a recipe locked in?
There's some of those changes that happen on some of the dishes. The short rib has been pretty traditional the whole time. Cool. And that, you know, the flavor, we've changed how we do it, so it always evolves.
And that short rib to me, man, I mean, you know, it's a short rib, and I probably didn't start eating short rib until I started doing fine dining.
I've got some sitting in a sous vide at home.
I mean, it was always such a weird dish like that chefs discovered like it was a cheap meat originally, but if you cook it right, it would be fantastic. But when I look at this one, this just reminds me of like a beef stew. Right, you got that carrots in there, and then
Brisket.
the mashed potatoes, and it just, it feels so homey. I feel like if it ever gets cold here again, that's like what I want to do to warm up.
Oh, yeah. Well, don't worry. In July, we sell a lot. Anyway.
I remember dining with somebody who saw short ribs, and he keeps the word rib was what he was thinking. And then it comes and goes, where's the ribs? I said, you're going to like this. And yeah, he did. So it's deceptive still for inexperienced diners.
Yeah.
Not that I ever was.
So, Chef, if I'm remembering right, we're sitting in, there's three main rooms here, three dining areas.
Yeah.
This is one of the dining rooms. There's a dining room right next to us. That first room when you come in, is that considered a dining room or a lounge area?
It is a dining room, yeah, but we have the bar in that first side. So there's bar seating. You can sit at the bar. Many people love to eat there. But, yeah, we have a service bar there, so we get all the cocktails made.
I was taking a look at your wine list. I was taking a look at your cocktail list. And, Jem, if you want to, like, flip through there, I think you might be impressed by some of the things. A lot of things jumped out to me. The pricing seems pretty good to me. Also, the selection of whiskeys. I mean, you've got a Pappy Van Winkle on there, I think, that I can get an ounce of for $50 if I'm remembering right. Like, finding Pappy anywhere, and then they usually price it out of reach because they only use it to give people comps, right?
Of course.
And yeah, at $50 for an ounce, I would pay that, right? I mean, but Pappy's not worth what people charge for it. But if you can find it at something like that, I think that's really cool. So I mean, seriously, people, if you're listening to this, if you've never had like Rip Van Winkle whiskey, come here and get it, because if you're going to places on the Strip that have it, you're gonna have to be a high roller or something.
$300-400,
Yeah. So I mean, that was pretty wild. Tell me a bit about your wine collection.
So I started collecting wine years ago. I worked for a place. I opened a restaurant in Laguna Beach, believe it or not, and he was one of California's largest wine collectors. Then, for those familiar, in '93, had a huge fire, burned down all of Laguna. He lost his house and all the wine.
Oh, man.
So it was totally devastating, and I started collecting, but with the intention to not save it as long as he did. So, opened a restaurant 10 years later, and I've already amassed a pretty good cellar, and then we have to put wines on the list. And the wines started small, and right now we've got about 400 different bottles.
Yeah, these are amazing. I'm just flipping through briefly. And
yeah, Jem, you're the wine person in this
selection.
group. I don't know. Rich wants to know what Oregon wines you have. I'm guessing.
I've got a few.
Of course you do. You can't not. Let me ask you about.
As you say that, I'm looking at 2 Oregon Pinot Noirs on the half-bottle list.
About your personal evolution, being here, obviously, the chef, the owner, you do the books, you're back there in the flame. 21 years later, I see you still have an apron on. You're working the pass, you're working the stoves?
Absolutely. Every night.
Yeah?
So we're going to see you and your wife in here every time we come in, right?
Yeah, pretty much. That's I always say that if the light's on, I'm here.
Wow.
So
You still love doing it?
yeah. I still love doing it. It's great, Don't bend quite as well as I used to, but other than that, it's okay.
Well, it's Gemini was just telling Terry that she's got
My
sister, a
sister,
cousin?
I think, she did 2 externships when she was in culinary school, and it was right around the time you opened. And I believe she was here in Ventano because she was living with my parents in Silverado Ranch. When she went to culinary school. And so I've definitely been here since then, but I have not been here in a while. So it was just, I was talking with her last night and said, we're going to go to Todd's Unique tomorrow and talk to Todd and sit down with him. And she wanted me to say hi. So Angela, I'll give you a last name later.
All right.
But it's been a long time.
That's great. Yeah.
But yeah, so my family has been coming here since you opened, basically.
Yeah, and that's what's cool about the neighborhood is that everybody kind of Summerlin people stay at Summerlin.
We kind of do.
Right? Everybody in Henderson kind of stays in Henderson. So we've got to know a lot of people over the years, and people have come, and it's all a cycle anyway. So they come for a long time, and then you don't see them for a little bit, or they move to the other side of town, and then they finally come back. Yeah. So it's just the way it is, But we're very lucky, and they've really helped us get through all this, and we try to give back and do everything we can. I was the first one to be involved with 3 Square.
Oh,
that was a great one
That's awesome.
to do. Been there 18 years. So
that's excellent, man. Thank you for that. Jem, you just started going into sweets. I'm not done with savory yet.
That's fine.
Tell me about your dessert over there.
I am in heaven. I don't like a lot of sweet food, but I do love a good dessert. And this brownie is amazing. It's crispy on top. It's really warm because it's been, baked in the cast iron or at least heated up. The caramel sauce is really good without being cloying. The nuts on top do something really good. I haven't tasted the ice cream yet. But yeah, it's a solid, nice fudgy brownie.
I'm digging.
I'm not mad at this.
During the next break. Chef, one thing. When I decided to focus on making food reporting the main focus of my career, one of the reasons I did it at that moment in time was because I felt like the off-strip story was about to be told. I felt like chefs were about to start moving off of the strip. And shortly after I did that, then you had Forte Tapas, and then you had Brian Howard coming out, and, you had all those people. When you did it, of course, very few people doing it, the 3 or 4 that I mentioned. Something that I loved about the scene when I started covering it was the way that they supported each other. The way that even chefs from the strip wanted to support their friends who moved off the strip.
Right.
When you did it in the early days, was it still like that? Was there a support system among chefs that were so happy to see you doing something different?
I think so. I think it was, like I said, when you work in this industry, you tend to want to elevate your dining overall. So when they heard that I was here and they knew about it and they read some stories or they heard it some way, they were excited to come and see us. And I've had a lot of chefs and a lot of general managers over the years that have come here just because they go, I don't know where else to go for dinner. I don't want to go back to the strip.
Yeah.
I want to eat off strip. So we've had a lot of that. Cool. And it's good.
Yeah, I mean, I just want to remind everybody, you got to get over here.
Yeah.
I mean, it was honest to God. I'm going to be straight.
It's
Todd
easy.
called me, right?
Yeah.
And out of the blue, we hadn't talked in years. He's like, "Hey, why don't you talk about me?" Right?
Let's do it.
Not exactly like that. He was
Yeah.
very super nice, but that was the gist. And I'm like, yeah, why the fuck don't I talk about him, right? Like this place. I mean, I always mention it as one of those OGs, but we never really talk about how it's such a great, solid fucking restaurant today. If you're writing for a more popular magazine or newspaper, somebody that has more listeners than us, tell your fucking editor you need to write an article on Todd's, man. This is a
Seriously.
great fucking story.
Yeah, this is
Yeah. Well, we still like having fun,
absolutely.
and we like to serve good food and,
Have you expanded over the years? Is this an addition?
Yeah,
that
this
we're
is the
sitting
new
in?
room. This is a new room.
Okay.
So, go back pre-COVID, I had a catering company as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I would occasionally go out to people's house and cook for them and do all that. Well, it became such a nightmare with everything going into people's house that I said,
People.
let's put a room in so that I can have everybody here.
Yeah.
And so we made a big room. This room is, seat 50 and very comfortably, and it gives me a chance to not have to leave here, and be able to still do catering and do other functions. So
you still do catering. So if anybody's doing a special event.
absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's good to know as well, man. Well, Chef, man, thanks so much for your time. We're about to start digging into the desserts during the next little break that's coming up right now, and we'll tell everybody all about that when we get back. We also have Happy Hour Report and the news coming up. This is Food and Loathing.
By now you know about Neon Feast, the app that serves up Las Vegas restaurant recommendations, not from self-appointed influencers hustling for free meals or flame from disgruntled diners. Neon Feast gives you suggestions based on our conversations with Vegas restaurant pros, the chefs, managers, owners, writers, bloggers, and others who make this industry great. What kind of food do you want? What part of the valley? How much to spend? What's the occasion? Ask Neon Feast and get the answers. Also check for restaurant news and in-depth features at Neon News. We have you covered with the Neon Feast app and neonfeast.com. And for restaurant news you can use, neonnews.vegas.
We are back with Andrew Morgan of happyhourvegas.com. And if you have not heard him in the past, this is the guy who tells you every week where you should go for a badass happy hour. His website is absolutely fantastic. It runs down all the cool happy hours in Vegas. It's like unbelievable. I don't even know how many. Andrew, how many do you have on there?
We got over 400 now. And they are some of the greatest, but there's some good, bad, and ugly on there too, right? So, but today we're just going to talk about some of the good ones that I like.
Yeah, that's why you do the research, man. That's because everybody doesn't have to knock on every happy hour door. So I live in the Southwest Valley, which I know has become at this point a rather large area when you talk about food and beverage, but it's also very popular among foodies. And there's actually a lot of people who may like to jump from spot to spot in the Southwest. So where in the Southwest is a great spot to go for a super cool happy hour?
Yeah, so imagine the Southwest a couple of years ago, it was like a dust bowl, right? And then Durango Casino came up there and Uncommons is there. So it's really up and coming. There's a lot of good spots. I kind of have some go-tos. You know, Amare, which is a relatively newcomer to the area, they've got a great happy hour. It's 3 to 5:30 every day. And then Sunday to Thursday, they also have an 8 p.m. to close and a Friday and Saturday 9 p.m. to close. So they're covering all aspects from a happy hour perspective. It's always at the bar and the lounge, and then also in the covered patio. So really good vibe for a happy hour there.
And I've actually seen the food menu there is pretty serious, and there's some good deals on food there. I think the most expensive is to get a pizza for like $13, but there are some real bargains on that food menu, right?
Oh, you got to try the Arancini Milanese. It's pork sausage, smoked mozz, calibri and aioli. It's $9. Like, you know, that's such a gem. Like, you got to try that one. But look, they've got the shrimp focaccia, shrimp scampi and the focaccia for around $8. They have a bottle and board. You know, it's $39. It's a great deal. You know, Amare is like old meets new Italian. It's like your old school neighborhood classic, but it's new and it's modern, and it's also a wine shop and like a, you know, like a market. So you get some really good ingredients, and the chefs are doing it really well there.
And I should say the name should not be taken for granted. If you like Amari, the plural of Amaro, not Amaros, but if you like to drink Amaro, you want to go there because they have a great collection there as well. And of course, these happy hours, there are drink specials too.
Oh yeah, they've got great wine, $11. They've got, you know, this cocktail and or spritz of the day. It's like $12, $13. And I'll tell you what, I fucking love this trend. You know, Echo and Rig started this one, like, I think years ago, and it was like $3, kind of the mystery drink, which is not a great way of putting it, but it was always top shelf and always really good, and still is to this day. So Amari's doing the same thing. They've got this cocktail and or spritz of the day. It's like $12. It's great.
Cool. So yeah, so you can go normal happy hour time. For me, because I live so close to that place, I have a little secret. A lot of times you go to parties on the Strip and they pass out hors d'oeuvres and you eat them and you're still fucking hungry when you're on your way home. So that's my stand. By the way, the food's always great, but you know, man, you're still a little hungry because you don't want to stalk all the waiters, right? So for me, I'm driving home and it's like 8 o'clock at night. I just hit that bar at Amari and I stock up and make sure I'm not going to bed hungry.
Yeah, totally. And they have the shop there, right? So you can get these artisanal products. You can, you know, bring it home if you want as well. But yeah, really good kitchen, good spot. I'm a fan there, that's for sure.
Cool. Any place else in the Southwest that's really exciting to you right now?
You know, so exciting is not the right word for this next one, but it's a good go-to. It's your good, you know, it's like it's the George. You know, it's the George Sportsman's Lounge, as they call it, at the Durango Casino. So it's been around for a little bit, but it's Monday to Friday, 3 to 6 p.m. It's at the lower patio only. So if you're a sports fan, you like that whole sports theme, it's kind of cool. You know, you got the AstroTurf kind of setup going on here. The menus.
So just to make sure, that would be the outdoor semi-covered patio, because inside they have like the top level, but then the lower level there is on the inside is actually run by the casino. It's the sports book. And then outside, the George actually runs both the upper and the lower level. So you're saying that it's that lower level outside, which is where they do this happy hour.
Correct. You know, the bar and everything inside is really nice, but there's no happy hour there. Happy hour is exclusively to that lower patio area. But simple menu. It's, you know, $5 to $7 for some food. You know, you got your buffalo chicken dip, your shishito peppers, the hummus platters and stuff like that. So really easy, accessible, go-to stuff, you know, in a cool environment. Beers, well, cocktails, $5, $6. So for like, you know, a high-end place like the Durango Casino and the George, being a high-end sportsman's lounge. Great pricing, good kitchen, and just a good vibe overall. It's a go-to place. Like you said about Amari, it's like when you're on your way home from the strip or something like that, I'm just going to stop in there, grab a quick drink, quick bite, Cool.
And so what times are there happy hours at the George?
Monday, Friday, 3 to 6 p.m.
Okay, man, and that is great. I mean, and I know right now we're not in prime season for anything. I know we got, probably I guess the next coming up is going to be football. But when you've got games that are happening, whether it's hockey or something, whatever the hell happens, when you're getting out of work just as the puck is dropping, you can hit the George on the way home, get your happy hour shit, and it is just one of the best places to watch a game.
Yeah, and I expect, every season these guys have like a different happy hour, like happy hour all night long as there's a game on kind of thing. So I will keep you posted. Check out happyhourvegas.com. We'll make sure that it's all noted there. But you can kind of expect that.
Cool, yeah, and it's just a really fun spot there at the George. So, okay, man, we hit 2 places in the Southwest Valley. Next week, do you want to give us a hint as to what you're coming back to talk about?
Talk about Southwest Valley. Our friends over at Alantica Vianio. Dude, I've got to get my shit straight. Apologize for that, but the sandwiches are knockout awesome, right? I heard from our friends there that they're going to be offering a happy hour soon. So again, check back Happy Hour Vegas. We'll keep you updated on that one, but that's also a great area, Southwest area for sandwich happy hour. So
okay, cool. So what's next week, man? Or you just want to surprise us?
No, cheap meats, man. Let's do some barbecue.
Okay, sounds good, man. Thanks a lot, and I'm looking forward to having you back.
Cheers, buddy.
It's time for the news. I told you all last week about the great time I had attending the James Beard Awards ceremony in Chicago last week, how I almost didn't get to go. I got one ticket up in the nosebleeds, but it was still fun. But one downside is, and this has been going on for a couple of years now, is that we're not getting the awards. We're getting nominations, but we're not getting any awards. And I'm shocked because there is a whole thing in the background on how they decide who's part of it. And Vegas has some super strong, amazing talent. So, but it does seem to be par for the course lately. So, but did you know in 2018, there was a time when we did win something. It's been a while, but Al decided to reminisce about that with a visit to Lotus of Siam, where the kitchen is helmed by Saipan Chutima, multiple awards nominee, I think 2018 winner for Best Chef Southwest.
Yeah, that was her third nomination.
That's amazing.
When she won,
And he spoke to that chef's daughter, Penny, about what that award has meant for her mother and their restaurant.
Probably we were nominated 3 times prior to actually winning the James Beard Award in 2011. And so, it was definitely a lot of work, I'll tell you that.
Yeah. So when you finally got the call, though, after 3 nominations and found out that you won, I mean, were you super excited about it, or were you kind of tired of it by that point?
I think it was very different for us. Like, I don't know how the protocol is now, but back then we didn't find out we were even a winner until we were at the event. And so we just found out we were a semifinalist throughout the whole way. And then they were like, hey, we were already showcasing our food. So it happened to be that same time. And next thing you know, they're like, hey, we would like you at the stage so that we can, announce. Next thing you know, it was my mom that won with, I believe his name was Tyson from Uchi. And so that was when we actually found out that she won. So, but even then, my mom's super humble. She just was always happy that they even set a semifinalist recognition for her.
So what's it mean for you when you win business-wise? Was it a big boom for your business, or the fact that Lotus had been around for so long and had such a huge following, was it like just another notch on your belt?
I personally want to say it did help a lot because people who were not in Vegas at the time, from out of the States, they actually knew what James Beard was. And so when they actually looked up, they were like, oh my God, this is a James Beard winner. And then so on and so forth. But I think people in our city didn't really know what it was yet. They were like, what is that? Is it the Michelin Guide? I'm like, no, it's completely different. And, people were just like, oh, so what is it? And I remember a lot of out-of-towners would always say it was comparative to like winning the Oscars for restaurants. And so then it became like a really big thing, I guess.
And June, by the time you hear this, the Arizona imported bottled blonde will be open in the shops in front of the Horseshoe. They had friends and family meals this week, but Al opted to pass on dining there until they're officially opened. But he did take a tour of the space with his old friend Brian Bass.
Bottle Blonde is really all about fun. It is a hybrid sports bar nightlife environment with a lot of steps in between those two things. We open at 11 a.m. during the summer for brunch, lunch, and some early day drinking. We have amazing views of the Bellagio fountain, which will be spectacular for during the day. And then as the evening approaches, it turns more into a higher energy bar and kind of like nightclub light environment.
So some people may have been to the Bottled Blonde in either Arizona or in Texas. How does this compare to what you do in other cities?
The Scottsdale and Texas locations tend to be a little bit more casual. I think here we're going to be a little bit more elevated, and we have a bigger space, and we have this incredible view, which is really going to be one of the focal points of the venue. I think that we also have a more advanced food program and a more advanced beverage program than we do in those spaces where the demand isn't necessarily there for the quality, just because of the competitiveness of the market. We've looked at wanting to raise the type of food that we're doing here and the offerings on the beverage side. And so we've built a venue that we think is really an elevated Bottle Blonde experience across the board, from room space to your experience here to the food and the beverage here.
So the food menu and the beverage menu, what are they going to be all about? What's the vibe there?
Yeah, so we kind of say Italian-American. It's definitely not an Italian restaurant. There's a lot of burgers, wings, kind of elevated bar food, the types of things that you would see in a typical sports bar environment, just with a little bit more thought and a little bit more preparation into them. But we definitely also have a handful of pastas. We have pizzas, which are the mainstay of the original locations. And then a couple other surprises that we'll be unveiling as we expand the menu through the opening and into the summer.
And that's going to be it for news this week.
We have to mention these desserts.
Desserts, I know, man. I'm loving this snickerdoodle bread pudding.
Oh, my God.
I'm totally loving it. The brownie's great, but I'm not a brownie guy, generally speaking.
Oh, really?
But,
I love the brownie.
I am a bread pudding guy, and this is a good bread pudding.
And that cheesecake thing with the raspberry is the perfect way to end this feast because it's a great palate cleanser. It's light, but boy, it is also present and accounted for.
Yeah, I just...
So on that note, big thanks to our hosts, Todd Clore and his wife, Terry, everyone here at Todd's Unique Dining, as well as all of our guests this week, Brian Bass, Penny Chutima, Stephen Hopcraft. I'm Al Mancini here with Rich Johnson and Gemini Stevens, wishing you good eating and reminding you that no matter how full you get, you gotta always stay hungry.